Hey everyone, this is Lisa from TRW, and in this video I'm going to show you how to start cutting Siser Electric EasyWeed using your Silhouette CAMEO 3. Now I'm going to go over the different cut settings that I use and also some tips and tricks on how to use the material. So if you want to learn how to use this HTV, just keep on watching. So I'm in Silhouette Studio, so I'm going to be not using this web address, and we're going to start setting up this design here. If you've been watching my other how to cut material videos, you'll know that I use this design for all of them. So I'm going to take this, put it in the top corner, and then go over to the left side for my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to draw a square around my design, and I'm just going to take this and center them on each other. Now we are using HTV, so we remember from other videos, this is a shiny side, this is the dull side. This is how we see our design, but we cut on this side because we can't cut into this carrier. So you'll see the electric has this nice sheen to it. It's really pretty. It's probably a little bit thicker than EasyWeed, maybe about the same, but as far as cutting, it's actually not very difficult to cut. So we're going to take this, prepare it for HTV, so we're going to right click and flip horizontally. So now our design is ready. And now you can see that I have a cutting mat in my cut area. The great thing about HTV is you don't need a cutting mat to cut it. You can use it and you're more than welcome to, but for this I am going to cut without a cutting mat because I don't need it. So let's go over to our page panel up in the top right. About halfway down you'll see cutting mat. I'm going to click on that and do none. So now I have no cutting mat selected, and if you look, my design is really close to this red outline on my workspace. That's my safe cutting area, so I just want to make sure I have some space between there because my machine will not cut any further than that red line. That's basically the threshold of my cut. So let's jump over to our send panel in the top right corner. So you'll see that my TRW right here isn't that bold red line. That's just because it came in as an SVG. I'm going to take my mouse, select both of these, and click right here for cut. And now we have that thick bold line. So let's drop down to my menu, and I have a preset set for my EasyWeed. So I'm going to be using the same settings as my EasyWeed. So you'll see I have my settings at blade 3, speed 10, force 5, and 1 pass. So I always say in my videos, I always recommend programming your own custom cut settings. That way you get the absolute best result for what you're doing. You're going to get exactly what you want. So I'm going to link in the description my video on how to program custom cut settings, and I also put it in the top corner for you so you can refer back to it later. So we're going to start off these settings, and before I do my main cut, I'm going to do a test cut. So one thing to remember is that every machine's a little bit different. Your blade could be newer, it could be dull. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, so we always want to do a test cut because what might work on my screen here may not work for you. So again, before you do any big project, always do your test cut, even if you've cut a million times before, because you don't want to risk it. So we're going to go over, I'm going to jump over, load my material, and then I'm going to show you how I go ahead and do my test cut and how to check it out.
Okay, so I'm over at my Cameo. You can see we have it already, and just a better look at this, here is the shiny side, and here is the dull side. So again, don't cut on the shiny side. That's what keeps it together. So I'm going to take my vinyl, I'm going to hold it one side, and I'm going to line it up against this blue line here. This is how we line up our design, and then the other side's going to go right here. So you want the thick part of these rollers here to be towards the edge of your material, so let's go ahead and load. And I like to kind of take my hand, smooth it, lift my roller and bring it back down so I can get it nice and smooth. So you can see we have this all fed in here. I'm going to jump back over to my software, and you can see I have my design all set up. Here are my settings, and I'm going to jump right back down, and I'm going to click this button here to do a test cut. So let's go ahead and test it, and this is going to cut out a little tiny design to see how it cuts and how it weeds. Alright, so my test cut is done. The Silhouette will have to process a second, so we're going to wait for that, and then we can go and unload it. Alright, so initial look. You can see almost like a tiny little indent from where this cut was. Let me wait for the camera to focus for you. So you should be able to see a tiny little one. And then when you flip it to the other side, you can kind of see, if you look closely, the line that was cut. So we're going to go over and I'm going to take my weeding tool. We're just going to kind of find the corner. So it's a box with a triangle in it. So we're going to find the edge of the box, get our weeding tool, lift up, and check that out. So nice clean cut. You want to feel the back of your carrier. I don't feel any indentation, any pressure, so that means my thickness was not too high. So now we're ready to just load it back up again and do my actual cut. So let's go ahead, load it back up. Now if you remember from the screen, the design is in the top corner. So I'm going to use this button right here on my machine. It gives me this move option. I'm going to move my origin just a tiny bit over. So you see how this moves? So now it's going to start my design a little bit further over. So let's jump back to my screen, and the machine will know it's going to start somewhere differently, so I don't have to move it over here. And then let's just go right here and send. Okay, our cut is done. You can see as I move it, you'll see the slight indent. When you run your hand over, you'll feel the cut line just a tiny bit too. Let's go ahead and unload it. And now you can just go ahead, and I'm going to start in this corner here. And this is why I do the weed box, because it makes it really easy to just take off the excess and really know where my design is. So now you can go right here. I'm going to start pulling. You can see I'm not having that much resistance. It should come up pretty easily. Now if you have issues like maybe your corners are snagging, a lot of times you might want to kind of adjust your thickness a little bit or adjust your force. And if the corners are lifting up, like these corners are lifting up, a lot of times that's too much drag from your blade. So your blade might be out a little bit too far too. But check it out, it's got this nice metallic sheen to it. This is the Siser Electric HTV. This particular color is in rose gold. I think it's super pretty, it's really beautiful, and it's a great material to use. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, and let us know in the comments what you think, what you would like to learn, and what sort of things you want to learn with your Cameo. So hopefully we'll see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.